Welcome, everyone, to episode 3 of our 5 Seasons podcast. We started at 0, so that kind of screws things up. You got to do math.
Yeah.
In this episode, we will talk about pregnancy and fitness through pregnancy, both before your first, second, and third trimesters, as well as labor and delivery and life post baby. And here on our podcast this week, we have Coach Jule, who, although you can't really tell, turn sideways. 39 weeks pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
So she's not going to deliver on this podcast.
No promises.
And then also coach and owner Nikki, who is also a labor and delivery nurse for the past 15 years. So she can lend us some of her expert advice, tips and tricks, and what she's seen works and doesn't work. So without further ado, we'll kind of get into the nuts and bolts. We'll just do a quick introductions, both of Nikki and Jule. So I don't know. Yeah. Nikki, you want to just give your...
All right. As Cliff mentioned, I have been a labor and delivery nurse for 15 years. It was my first nursing job out of school, and I never planned to do anything else with nursing, so I have found my niche, if you will. I have had 2 pregnancies, my first one in which I was not physically active, and my second one I did CrossFit up until 2 hours before I delivered him. So kind of a roundabout experience there.
And then hey everybody, I am Jule, Coach Jule. I have been doing CrossFit for it'll be 8 years here coming up, I think. 7 or 8 years? I don't know. Time's a blur. It's a bad time to ask a very pregnant lady questions about numbers.
We'll put some titles under it.
Yeah. It's down here in asterisk.
I mean, too bad for the kids out. It could be like 6, 7.
It's true.
Oh,
my gosh. Oh my gosh.
No.
Trend.
No. That's getting cut out.
And yeah, I've been a coach at 5 Seasons here for about 5-6 years, and I am 39 weeks pregnant, just about, and this is my second, and my son is just about 3.5, and I did CrossFit for both of my pregnancies, so, and she doesn't have anything to say, but she's in there moving around right now. Soon she will have lots to say. Yep. So that's me.
Yeah. I don't know. Tony and I are obviously dads. Yeah. Well, not obviously, because there's no kids running around.
Your kid on the podcast.
Nikki and I obviously have a couple of kids. But Tony's also a dad. So
I'm the least experienced parent here, as I have an 18-month-old. So
we got a broad range anywhere from 12, 8, 3. What did you say? 18?
18
months and 0 months. Mm-hmm. So wide spectrum, almost a teenager. So awesome. So we'll start off with some questions for Jule. But yeah, if you wanted to start off by telling us a little bit about your fitness background and maybe about like your fitness and like through your first pregnancy with Finn.
Yeah, sure. So I've always been an active human my whole life, and I feel like I've had restless leg syndrome my entire life because I just don't like to sit still. I don't like to sit still. I never have, even very well into my adulthood. So I was an athlete in school and did some bodybuilding stuff before I found CrossFit, and then found CrossFit. And at the time when my husband and I found CrossFit, we were, talking about starting a family and getting ready to start trying and stuff like that. But your body, having been in fitness most of my life, my body was in tune to just movement all the time. And when I got into CrossFit, it was just a different kind of movement. It didn't really affect my body in any other way other than it just made me a lot stronger and a lot more conscious of, like, gave me more body awareness, if you will. But as we were actually trying to start a family, it took us a really long time, but I chalk a lot of that up to probably some of the birth control that I was on. It really had nothing to do with my fitness. And, you know, I like to think that my nutrition was really good. Anyway, long story short, after like over 3 years of trying, pregnant with my son, and I was never going to give up CrossFit. It was never the plan. It had never crossed my mind, but it was very different because it was such a big part of my life now that I had to figure out how I was going to make that work. And I'm a very competitive person, and you know, when you have your first, especially when it's your first pregnancy, and all you do is can compare it to what you know you are capable of in the gym and things like that, you're actually a little bit hard on yourself because you're like, well, why can't I do this? Well, I'm growing a human. And luckily you have really important people in your life in the gym that can talk you through that. But with my first pregnancy through Finn, you know, Nikki said that she was in the gym 2 hours before she had her son, and I was in the gym with Finn on his due date and started having contractions the next morning. So it's just, and we'll get into this more. I know Cliff mentioned just about how you move, but having gone through a whole pregnancy and recovery with Griffin, who's now 3.5 almost, it's really changed my experience going into this second one as well. And it's given me a lot of tools too, as we've had, I don't know, more than half a dozen women in our gym, 8 probably at least, go through really great pregnancies. And we have I mean, and they and we can talk more about it too, but all their kids are now running around, and some of them have already had their second or in process of their second, and it's been really cool to grow and share experiences with everyone, and it's only been a really good thing.
Kids that are now in our CrossFit Kids program, their youth program, which is crazy.
Yes.
So with it being your second pregnancy going through, compare and contrast kind of the first to how you're feeling now, 39 weeks into number 2.
Well, my first one was a little dude, and he's a little fiery redhead. So that kind of followed through his whole pregnancy. He was kind of a sassy little dude, if you will. I felt pretty sick most of my pregnancy with my first one, and again, you just aren't sure what your body is going to do the first time around. You don't understand fully how it's going to change, how it's going to adapt, and it was definitely more of a process of me just understanding what my body could do and still feel good while being in the gym. You know, the gym is like mentally and physically my happy place. So I never wanted to make the gym somewhere where I felt like I was defeated. So you kind of just go in with this mindset. With your first pregnancy, you're like, I'm not really sure how this is going to feel, but we're going to figure it out and feel it out. And as a coach and kind of like a leader in our gym too, it just felt important to try to, you know, still get in and move, even though it was hard, and move the best I could. And you actually find that, you know, you're doing this for much more than yourself. You're doing this for the human that you're growing and for your family, and also just understanding probably the great ripple effects that would have in labor, delivery, and postpartum. And with this second kid, I mean, it's also like a second kid thing, I have been told. So, but it's just like, we already have just one. Wait. And yeah, I know, just wait. But this second pregnancy has been a lot different for me. With my first pregnancy, not only just I physically felt a little bit different, but mentally I struggled a lot more with it. Again, I was kind of always comparing myself to what I could do. The competitive nature in me, just comparing myself to my athletes and my friends around me, but them never having the same, they didn't ever look at me like that. They're like, Jule, you're doing things that many people are not and will not. And
and she still beat most of us.
So there is that. But this second pregnancy has been all about, like, from the start. I mean, the hardest part was just when people didn't know. And so people are like, Jule, like, what's going on? I'm like, work was kind of crazy, but I could only say that for so long before I had to tell people. But this second pregnancy has been completely different. I'm thankful for every day I can be in the gym. Movement actually feels really good. And I attest that also to, continuing fitness after my first one and continuing with it, even having a young little dude at home. And with this pregnancy, just staying consistent and trusting my body to do it's thing. And I've actually had a lot more faith in my body the second time around, knowing what it can do. And, and mentally, I'm just like, this is awesome. I'm so glad I can move. And I think I attest a lot of that to getting through that first pregnancy and seeing how you can bounce back. But you just give yourself a lot of grace and space because, again, you look beyond. It's not just about you. It's about creating life and just like mentally you're doing it for yourself and for your kid and for your family. So
awesome. Thanks, Jule. Nikki, you'd mentioned that through your first, you weren't as physically active. And then second, with Truman, you worked out up until basically he popped out.
simple
maybe,
as that.
Maybe talk, share some of the benefits that you saw of being fit and active, through the pregnancy as opposed to, being, I don't want to call it sedentary, but your first one was a little bit more sedentary than your second
definitely. We still were doing some kind of fitness on our own, but definitely not CrossFit and not organized fitness where someone actually, programmed something for us to do, right? I was not coached. My experience were completely different. I noticed with Truman, our second, recovery was so much faster. And full disclosure, I had 2 C-sections. I had a section with both of the boys. And even after that second one, recovery, I was able to be up and more active. Truman was a little bit early, so he was up in the NICU. So I had to walk up there. And I'm thankful for my fitness with that because a lot of mamas sometimes after just aren't feeling up to that and they miss out on some of those first critical hours of their kiddo's life. So I was thankful for that. And just, again, the mental side of it, I just felt so much more relieved and less stress after. And I do attribute that to just the physical fitness and the activity that I had done leading up to that. Yeah.
Excellent. If you've listened to our past couple of podcasts, we like to insert kind of some studies or some research. Some of what I was able to find, and you're well attuned to this, says some research indicates that women who stay active may experience shorter labors and improved postpartum recovery. So obviously we have 2 experts here that have gone through it, but
Together.
maybe together. Nikki was there. Maybe share some of your insight on that.
Yeah. So being a part of many, many labors, which is amazing. I tell these laboring women that, your body is getting ready for the biggest marathon of its life. Truly, it is, even with short labors, it can be just real intense. Ladies know what I'm talking about. So just having that physical fitness background support of that can make labors oftentimes much shorter. The pushing stage a lot of times can be much shorter with this, just because it is such a long, grueling process that, being physically fit and having that good cardio health is huge when it comes to pushing that babe. Also, as Cliff mentioned, it does lead to postpartum recovery being much smoother, and everyone has their own journey of it, but a lot of times just having that space that you have done hard things in the gym kind of translates over to this is hard. I'm a new parent. I just gave birth, but it kind of mentally sets you up a little bit more successful. Yeah.
Definitely. I mean, the sheer mental aspect of it, and its ties to like Nikki said, through CrossFit workouts has to be huge.
Yeah.
would
I mean,
imagine.
I love what Nikki said about like, we're just wired to tackle hard things here in the gym. And it's like, it's really good because it sets you up for, like we always say, like, you're here for an hour, but like life happens beyond our four walls. And so like so much of what we do here is so much more than fitness. It sets you up mentally and physically for just life outside of this. And like, it is like, I mean, even with my second one, like there's a lot of anxiety and there's a lot of unknowns, and it's like, it's a big life event. And so a lot of times in the gym, we trust our bodies to do the work, and we are very conscious and have a lot of body awareness as athletes as to what our bodies are capable of. And I feel like with my first one, that just like I felt so in tune with what my body was doing that I could tell like when things were happening. Or luckily I had this one here to help walk me through all of it. It was perfect. But it truly just like, you just trust your body and it's going to do the things because you've already done so many hard things in the gym, and you've been doing this marathon already for 9 or 10 months. So it's like, I can do one last workout and get this kiddo here, and
And it has
it's a game changer.
the ultimate reward at the end of that marathon.
It's a big PR for sure.
So taking it a step back, maybe, things, I mean, it's 9 months, but it goes by super fast. So things, your body's rapidly changing. How do you know when to like dial things back, or like what are some things that you did, for a second, third trimester, maybe not prescriptive or exact, but how do you know when to dial it back, and what are some things that you did?
Yeah, for sure.
Or continue to do.
Yeah, for sure. And again, like with your first pregnancy, if there's any of you like going through that, like it's more of just like a grace and space and understanding what movement feels like and how things feel different, because truly every trimester is different and every pregnancy is different. For me, like both first trimesters, I, physically didn't look a whole lot different, but like I was very like nauseated, didn't feel good, tired, all those things. I was not eating how I usually would, because I was just trying to eat what felt like what my body wanted. And so, that has, your nutrition obviously has ripple effects into how you perform in the gym and things like that. So like, I feel like those first trimesters is just, you can still do a lot of the movement, but it's knowing when to kind of like push the intensity back, or knowing when to like go 50% at the gym as compared to 80% at the gym. Like those are just kind of days where you're glad to get in there and move, and they're more actually mentally challenging because you don't really have a whole lot of physical barriers aside from the fact that you don't feel great and maybe people don't know yet, and so you still have to kind of show up and do your best and be thankful that you can do that. Whereas you kind of like progress into your second and third trimesters. Like, again, my first one, while I had really great support system in the gym and coaches and stuff around me, like helping guide me, it's really kind of, again, everyone's bodies are different. So movements and things like gymnastics and things like that were things that like involve your core more, right? Like your body's changing. I have so many people that are like, well, your body is basically becoming a giant bungee cord. So it's like, well, that's a cool thing to think about, but also what does that mean for me in the gym? And it's really, people say all the time, like, listen to your body, and it is that, but it's more like just see how your body feels in movements and stuff like that. Like in the second pregnancy, I kind of had a little bit of anticipation as to what to expect, but there's never a time like, yes, you can maybe not do this movement, but you can do this movement. And at the gym and in CrossFit, all the coaches, we all do a really good job of being like, you can modify to this, like, and you'll still get the same, we call it stimulus, right? So it's still giving you the same essentially gains or the stimulus of a workout, but it might be a little bit different. So like I knew, in my second pregnancy, even in my first one, like your core just kind of starts feeling stretchy, things feel weird, your back kind of starts hurting a little bit, and you're like, this probably isn't worth it to keep doing this movement, but hey, here's something I can do, kettlebell halos or something where I can still use my grip and just not be hanging on a bar, or and then is like, your belly kind of grows, your squat stance widens a little bit, but you can still pick up stuff off the floor, you can still squat, you can still press. But again, it's very different for everybody. I'm 39 weeks and I'm still doing burpees, but you won't see me jumping onto a box right now because impact just isn't what my body needs right now. But I can still do step ups and I still get a really good workout. So I could probably blab about this for a while, but it's really important that everyone understands that, and every pregnant woman should understand. And since we especially have multiple pregnancies usually happening in our gym at once, to not ever compare yourself to anybody else and what they're doing in the gym. The thing is that you are just in the gym and that you're moving, and you should support each other and cheer each other on as to whatever that movement looks like for you.
Yep, excellent. Definitely movement is medicine.
Yes.
Yeah.
100%.
It's kind of I don't want to call it a controversial, but like if you look historically, it's like, oh, like you're pregnant and you should probably just like lay around and like take it easy, right?
Let's talk about
it. So whether you're pregnant or not, like taking it easy, like you're losing muscle mass, it's, your muscle mass drives your metabolism. Your muscle mass is a defense against chronic disease, aging. You know where this is going.
Yeah.
The microphone's going over to Tony.
Look at this guy.
So I'll just,
He's fired up.
I'll end it there. And he's like,
Charging.
popped up. So maybe talk us through maybe like whether it be pregnancy or not, kind of that sedentary and like how that impacts your overall body. And then maybe you two can talk maybe about like the delivery aspect before, afterwards, and just overall impacts.
Yeah, so when you're talking about taking it easy, yes, there is a time for that, but it should not be your standard.
Yeah. It's probably not time for bulking season, like muscle wise. There's a human bulk, not a. I'm gonna get 10 pounds of muscle mass added.
Yeah,
these next 9 months.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, and they've both mentioned it already, is listening to your body, and especially during a pregnancy. Nikki, you mentioned it multiple times, a marathon. So I was doing a little bit of research not too long ago.
No.
And me doing some research. What a surprise. But essentially the energy output for the entire 9 months is like running a marathon daily. Mm-hmm. That is the energy level that a body needs while creating another human. So obviously shouldn't say obviously, but that made light bulb for a few people of like puts things into perspective. Like, this is why I'm so much more tired. This is why, people that already come in, or people maybe just started going to the gym and then moved, and then say you were here for 3-4 months, had a pregnancy, and then like, oh my God, why is it so much harder all of a sudden? Because your body needs a lot more energy to do what it's doing. Yep. So and we've mentioned this multiple times already, but it's coming in and doing what feels good, doing what gets your heart rate up a little bit, challenges you mentally for sure, physically to a point. Yeah. Obviously, we're not wanting to, go to the pain cave, go to the dark zone, anything like that, especially when we're as far along to this point, because we don't want any detrimental effects, which can come from overexertion. Mm-hmm. But that's not just during pregnancy, that's always like case in point, workout we did today, taking anywhere from 25 to 35 minutes, several hundred reps, high rep movements. That's not a sustainable thing to do on the daily. So that's where, again, I'll always harp on this, that CrossFit's methodology is the best because it is varied, but it has a reason. From, just here where we're doing a strength cycle with much smaller sprinty workouts to those longer workouts like today to, those in-between ones to skill days with a little more intensity. Having all that different variety allows your body to adapt better to all things. So, that translating just to the specifics we're talking about with pregnancy, obviously, every day I would assume, feels completely different.
Yeah.
Obviously I don't know that. I'm trying.
It's okay, Tony. It's okay. I understand.
We're doing our dad best here.
Yep. Just doing what we can.
Yeah. And I'm gonna officially change it. I mean, I know, like, for folks watching the podcast, if you're not a CrossFitter, obviously the marathon analogy certainly works. But I'm gonna go out on a limb and say it's a Murph a day.
Yeah.
Roughly.
Oh
A
my
Murph.
gosh.
See?
Yes.
Have you run a marathon?
No, I don't.
You've done a Murph. Yeah. So
And pregnant.
yeah. And
Yes,
pregnant.
yes. Twice.
So for your CrossFitters out there, it's like doing a Murph a day on top of the work that you're doing. So that's how you feel. Awesome. There are a lot of myths and misinformation out there. So some of the ones, like common myths: lifting causes miscarriages. You can't train your core at all. Your heart rate has to stay below 140. So maybe hit on those a little bit, and maybe how you've worked around it, because like with any myth, there's some nugget of truth. So maybe talk about some of these and how you've worked through them.
I am going to push on you slightly on that 140. That might be a doctor recommendation due to underlying conditions. That one might not be a myth, but that one would be doctor.
Yeah. Maybe. Yeah. So
driven.
So like
That would
the
be like something that had already
Yeah.
been discussed previously during pregnancy or before pregnancy.
Just so when people see that, they
Yeah.
know that
Yeah.
might be for a specific person. For a
yes.
specific reason.
So with that nugget, it's like, okay, well maybe your max heart rate pre-pregnancy was 190. It's like, should you be shooting for 190, 200?
No.
Especially as the pregnancy goes on, probably not.
Yeah. And again, it's very different for everyone. And so I can mostly, just speak to my own experience. But I mean, Tony said, like, every day is very different. Every trimester is very different. Every week's very different. And you have all these factors outside of pregnancy, right? Like you have work, you have your family, you may have another kid running around, you have your nutrition, your sleep, all of those things that are factors. But again, having already gone through one pregnancy, I already knew the benefits of just staying consistent in the gym. And it never meant that I had to lift the same weight or push the same intensity. It just had everything to do with still showing up. And that's what I do. And it's like, some days it is really hard to get in here, but there's never a day. And even if you're not pregnant, there's like never a day you leave the gym and you're like, man, I really shouldn't have gone and done that today. Like, your body needs movement and it feels good after movement. And like, your baby loves them. Like, my kids are awesome, are going to be like, this one's going to be awesome. They're like gym kids. Like, they sleep, they just grew up in the gym with you. So like, even my first, I was coming in the gym 2 or 3 weeks postpartum, even just like coaching and moving lightly, and he would fall asleep to the sound of barbells and loud music playing. And so I'm like, that is so awesome.
Gym baby.
Yes, gym babies are awesome. But I've never, like, again, you're just kind of in tune with your the cool thing about this pregnancy is I very much feel like my strength has not deteriorated during it. And it's because I've been lifting lighter weights, lighter in comparison to what I had been, but I still feel strong. And I have never felt that that's like affected my pregnancy or my experience or anything. I have my weekly checkups. I go see my doctor regularly. My blood pressure's good. All my blood stuff, my blood is good when I'm not passing out, getting blood drawn. I've been able to stick to like a really consistent, like like my nutrition really hasn't changed in compared to when I wasn't pregnant and things like that.
I was going to ask
about nutrition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to when Tony
Yeah.
was talking. But like, what are some things like nutritional type advice from nutrition
Sure.
coaches?
Sure. And I think that one of the more common misconceptions maybe with nutrition are people like, oh, I should be like eating more or something during pregnancy or things like that. And I'm like, well, at some point you can't really, because my stomach's like all the way up here in my neck at this point. But I feel like the only time I've really had to change or adapt to my nutrition was in that first trimester when, your body just doesn't really want a lot of things. You don't feel as good, but you can still consciously reach for options that make you feel good. Like for me, it was sad. I didn't really want coffee or anything sweet or anything like that, but I loved still like fruit or salty things, or like, I would usually have my protein overnight oats in the morning, and instead I was making breakfast sandwiches for a while. And like, you're just still conscious that you want to put good things in your body, so that you and your baby can stay, still have good nutrients, and you still want to stay hydrated and things like that. And it's also really important to understand that it's temporary. And I know, like, especially when it's your first pregnancy, it doesn't feel like that. You feel like this is like, I'm changed forever. I'm only going to be able to eat trash and salty things, and that's all my body's going to want. But this too shall pass, and it's important to remember that. And like once I kind of got past 16 weeks, I was really able to go back to the way I was eating. And now that I'm kind of towards the end of my pregnancy, there's a little bit of like, I just don't really want to eat a lot and blah, blah, blah. But again, you're just kind of eating for the moment and knowing that it's temporary, but it's still really important to put the good stuff in your body first, because you're not just fueling yourself.
You're fueling for that Murph.
Fueling for the Murph and for that.
What was your fruit of choice this pregnancy? 'Cause I know you devoured strawberries like it was your job.
Guys,
for the first one.
With Griffin, I had 4 pounds of strawberries a week. And he has bright red hair, and we joke that that's why.
That's impressive.
Yeah. She was
Amazing. Since we're kind of like in winter, it's been blueberries and apples. Nice. Yeah, and peanut butter always.
Of course.
Yes. So, but you don't have to ever hyper focus about like counting things or being obsessed about it. It's really just trying to put things in your body that are gonna fuel you, make you feel good, support your movement. And also, this is very different because my first pregnancy was summer, this one is winter, and that's also been kind of a factor in how I've wanted to stay fueled and all that stuff. So,
Here's a little tidbit, and this is a real thing outside of your physical fitness, kind of on the mental side of things. But women who exercise typically experience less postpartum depression and anxiety, which it kind of goes hand in hand with like general population as well. Just like exercises, releases endorphins. You feel better about yourself through just your physical fitness and your movement. But I think there's I'm not a doctor or a scientist around this, but there's additional hormones and things that are going on post pregnancy that the fitness leading up to it can help out with. So I don't know if any experiences or.
Yeah, I mean, and I can totally like talk openly about this, but I struggle with anxiety, and I haven't, it's been awesome. Like the second pregnant, like there's been stressors happening, but it hasn't been gym related or anything like that. Like it's that first pregnancy, I struggled a lot mentally with just, again, that was my own battle of mentally comparing myself to what I could do, but it was always manageable because I was with my crew. Like I was with my people at the gym that understood and could support me and talk me through it. And they'd be like, you should not be hard on yourself. Like, this is great. And so like I could get over that. But like once, baby's here, you do go through another phase of like, wow, this is different. My body's different. And somebody trusted me to keep this little human alive. I don't know what move. There's all these like kind of fears and unknowns of I don't know what movement's going to feel like afterwards or things like that. And you just really lean on like the people around you and even just any kind of movement, like going for walks, or you always lean back into movement I have always leaned back into movement for like my mental health. It's always kind of centered me and grounded me and brings me to the people that bring me the most peace. And that's really something that I've tried to keep close the second pregnancy. Just knowing that any kind of headspace I might be in, this time not as comparable, if you will, but just handling other stressors, like movement in the gym was always just like my constant, and I could lean on it to always be there to help lift me up. And it's been a game changer, and I feel very much less anxious in the gym this time because, again, I'm not like fighting myself in the gym. I'm trusting my body to move, and I'm super pumped that it moves how it does.
Giving yourself some grace.
You give yourself so much more grace and space. And again, it's really cool having other mini strong moms in our gym, and dads and people that have families. And it's cool when we see I see this mostly on the weekends, but we're in here like working out, and then you look around and you like see everyone's kids like watching them. It's cool. And we have a youth program here, and they look up to us, and it's like, it's cool. It makes it so much bigger than yourself, and it takes you to a really good mental place knowing that it's much bigger than yourself.
Yeah. I don't have the facts around like the children themselves, but there's all sorts of data around their physical and mental well-being tied to your physical and mental well-being. If they see you eating well and working out in the gym, odds are their behaviors are going to be reflective of that as well.
Well, just to piggyback off that, it does also affect the fetus fitness throughout the pregnancy. It's just you moving is putting you at way less higher risk of developing gestational diabetes, high blood pressure. As you mentioned, your blood pressure stayed normal, so that puts you at this baby too at less risk of, like I said, high blood pressure, preeclampsia, just losing that postpartum weight gain, just tons and tons of benefits to the unborn baby too, just with movement. It does decrease your risk of a C-section or blood clot. So there are lots of positives to just movement, whether it's CrossFit or any type of movement. You are benefiting not only yourself, but your baby as well.
Yeah, people joke and they're like, "Oh, your kid's gonna come out with like kettlebells." I'm like, maybe. I don't know. That'd be cool.
That'd be cool. Different, but cool. Also, just kind of bouncing back to, as Cliff said, and we talked about experiencing less postpartum depression and anxiety with movement, and this is where dads come in huge as well. I just remember, again, afterwards, lots of stuff have changed with your body, and it was really awesome just having Cliff there to go back to the gym with. And again, doing it with someone, like you said, your people, supportive dads after, it is huge for your psyche. And yeah, cannot stress that enough, that it is awesome just being with your people afterwards, your safe space. Fitness is great.
Yeah. And it's like not the saying that you're not going to have hard days, because you're going to have hard days. You're going to have dark days, but like they come back to lighter days a lot quicker when you have your people and your support around you. Yeah. So it's important to just like lean into the hard days and the good days.
Yeah, it's not like it's going to make things easy by any means, but it's going to equip you with the tools to, when you are confronted with these challenges, you know what to do around them, whether it be physically or mentally.
Yep, totally.
From a dad standpoint, things have changed a lot in the last, our oldest is 12 years old. Things have changed quite a bit. So maybe Tony and I can share a little bit of dad's advice. He's 18 months and I've got the 12-year-old, so we have a broad span there. But 12 years ago, I remember we were in the delivery room, and I think I had to go back to work 2 days afterwards, maybe 2 days. And nowadays, with the leaves that we have, I think it's like most are somewhere in like the 6-week range. But I do know I have friends or folks that I work with that neglect to take that, or just kind of pick and choose when they're going to be taking that. So my recommendation would be to use that time to spend with your wife and newborn, and support them as much as they can. If they need you to go out and get something, or
Coffee.
get your wife or your partner some coffee, or entertain the in-laws, or whatever it is to help reduce the stress from your significant other that had just ran 9 months worth of marathons or 9 months of Murphs. Please support them, get them some nutritious food, rub their back, get them a massage and a coffee.
Yeah.
Wow.
I like this.
Basically,
We're not having another baby.
Yeah, we're done.
We're done.
yeah. So
Rain check.
basically what I tell, because I have my wife's friends, there's several people that are pregnant, just had children. This is, kind of, I put it as simple as, I'll put it as simple as this. Anything that does not involve the survival of the child that second, that is your responsibility to take care of. Everything Cliff just said. Like, legitimately everything. It's like when my daughter was born, and even up to 18 months later, my daughter is still attached to my wife, much more than anyone else, which is understandable. Yeah. So it's, everything else is basically and I don't want to sound like I'm putting it on myself or has been put upon me. I take it upon myself to do absolutely as much of anything that I can, as far as cleaning, cooking, groceries, entertaining the dogs, trying to get, making sure my wife is drinking water and eating. Those are two things that,
Don't neglect yourself.
Yeah, exactly. It's don't neglect yourself. Don't let your partner get too overwhelmed. They're going to. I can't speak for it. I would assume it's probably the hardest thing to ever do in your life. So it's the best, but also insanely difficult. Yeah. So it's take as much off of their plate as you physically can. And like Cliff said, when you get that, leave time from work, I was kind of in a scenario where I had started a new position, so I didn't have access to that leave time right away, but I did have access to so I essentially took PTO as if it was that, and then used that time later, which happened to be at a good time to take stuff off everyone's plate at the time. So, just do absolutely as much as you can to help them out, even if it seems trivial at the time. Like, I more than once, my wife was laying on the couch, baby's just laying next to her and just chilling perfectly fine. She's like, "Oh, I'm gonna get up and get something." No, you're not. Here, I'll get it. It's just that's how I've gone about it. That's how I've told, a couple of the newer fathers and significant others. We do have a female couple that has had their first, which is awesome. Her pregnancy was very rough. Not my story to tell, but so just do absolutely as much as you can. But also, don't forget once in a while to just take a little for yourself too. Don't
Then
completely lose yourself.
You guys are doing a lot too. Like, I mean, the fatigue, all of that stuff is like real. And I think, Tony, like kind of what you're saying, also just like not even just like partners, but just like lean on your circle. Yeah. Like, it's okay to like ask for help, and it's okay to let people do things for you. Cause like, again, just speaking for myself, I like to do a lot of things on my own, and I like being independent and things like that. But it doesn't make me any less strong to like ask for help in a really crazy important time in your life, and lean on that. And we learn that through community and our gym, and what we have here is special and stuff like that too. But like, when you're close to someone and they're going through those things, you feel like that energy and that physical experience to some extent. So there's just grace and space for everyone through that.
Question for Nikki. What would you say to someone who's been mostly sedentary but wants to start being active? Like, in particular, is obviously someone who's wanting to get pregnant.
Right. A healthy body supports a healthy pregnancy. So we wouldn't want someone to come off completely sedentary to running a marathon, right? As or doing a Murph. As we would have with any new athlete, we want to start things low and slow. Okay, but that does not mean that pregnancy isn't a good time to start fitness. Because as we discussed before, the positives of being physically fit or supporting that good cardiovascular health is huge throughout the entire, I'm going to say 10 months of pregnancy, because you grow that baby and then at least that first 4 weeks after in that postpartum journey. Yep. So starting fitness is never a bad time. We would just want people to kind of low and slow ramp up, but whether that means just starting with walks, it does not mean you couldn't start CrossFit. It just CrossFit maybe at the beginning would look different for someone, and that's okay. Pregnancy is an amazing time. It's like we've mentioned, it is different for everyone every time. It's a beautiful thing, and you should love that journey. And like Jule said, just really lean on your support, your crew. Come in, do what you can. But honestly, to answer your question, physical fitness, it's never a bad time to start, whether you are trying to get pregnant, whether you want to start during pregnancy. It would look different for everyone, but it's always a positive to get that body moving.
Question for Jule, since you're most closest to this right now.
In many ways.
Yes. And as is with most things fitness, it's like, well, where do I start? So if you could create a simple roadmap for moms, what would training look like kind of across the trimesters?
Yeah, so I would say, first trimester is really based on your history and what you're doing currently with fitness. I mean, if you're already doing CrossFit, you can absolutely keep doing CrossFit and for the most part, all of the things that are involved with it. You just dial down the intensity a little bit. If you're not doing CrossFit specifically, but you're already active in some way, you're a runner, you're just in a gym lifting weights, or doing body pump or things like that, like continue with your movement, just modify the intensity of it. And if it's beyond your first pregnancy and you might feel symptoms a little bit early with your body, just again, modify the intensity and perhaps cut a few things out. But I wouldn't say that that's a time where you have to don't completely stop. You're definitely probably not going to feel your best, but it will not help you in any way to just completely stop moving. It'll be harder, but it's important you move. And then as you kind of progress through your second trimester, you should still be able to do many of those still things. Again, just being mindful of intensity, maybe load on the bar. Some of the movements like core things might not be the same, but just find modifications for it. There's so many other things you can do to still, your core is a big part of your body. It just doesn't mean sit-ups and things like that.
Question.
Yes.
Especially for the CrossFitters, cleans and snatches. How does that work with the obstacle? You got to keep it close.
I did those this morning, Cliff.
I know.
Your bar path changes a little bit. Again, you do have...
It goes from straight to a little bit of a curve.
I had a lot of people laughing at me this morning. They're like, you were just doing reverse curls. I'm like, well, what do you want me to do? Again, it's modifying things to adapt them to what your body feels like and what it looks like at the time. And in CrossFit, we do that in the form of just finding other modifications. We even say this in nutrition. We're not trying to take anything away. We're just trying to add more tools to your toolbox, essentially. And that's the same with
There's the nugget.
Yeah.
There it is, nuggets. But again, that's the same with like any movement. If you're a runner and you need to start doing like, intervals, and you're just jogging and then you're walking and then you're jogging and then you're walking, or you're just going up hills or something, there's ways to modify all those things. And, as your body continues to change and especially grows this way, you just modify things, and the pace in which you move changes. But some of the things that never change are like the endorphins you get from movement, the people around you, how good you feel. And you can just feel a lot of pride in knowing that you're taking care of yourself and like your soon baby to be here. And so again, it's kind of specific to your fitness level. Again, like Nikki said, if you're just starting out, like don't go from 0 to 100, and it may be a little bit more challenging. But you also just have a base to start somewhere. So.
Awesome. I think we've got time for one last question. This question is for both of you. But what one piece of advice do you wish every mom could hear about fitness and pregnancy? One piece of advice.
I would say like move, like do the fitness, do the things. We live in such a world right now where there's so much noise and false information and people telling you what to do, and with social media, people you don't know telling you what to do. And at the end of the day, you have to trust yourself and what your body needs, and understand that movement is good for you. So I would say just move.
Yep, I love that. I kind of said it before, but I would just say one thing is just enjoy the journey. You are never going to experience that day in pregnancy ever again. And even if the day before was really awful, like Jule said, it's not going to be like that forever. And as I just reminded my pregnant friend here, no one's pregnant forever. So enjoy that journey. It is a beautiful time in life. I love being a labor and delivery nurse. I love getting to be a part of such a huge life experience with people. So I try to remind my labor and delivery patients that this is another day in it, and we're going to get to experience and get to meet that PR, if you will, that babe at the end. But just enjoy the journey. Trust your body. And dang, babies are awesome.
Trust the process.
All right. Well, thank you for watching. If you're still watching this far, I would highly encourage you to. But if you haven't followed, liked, subscribed to our YouTube channel, please do so. Thank you for being on this podcast, Jule and Nikki.
Anytime.
And yeah, stay tuned for the next one. And of course, as always, if you have questions, drop them down here below. Or if you have suggestions for upcoming podcasts, we're always looking for exciting new ideas there. So thanks, everyone. And yeah, stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.